Bob Lazar has been relentlessly attacked for decades. What is particularly frustrating is that there are people on the internet whom attack Lazar in a personal crusade of character assassination. It's not difficult to find these people, so I'll leave it up to you to investigate. However, I will stress that these character assassination attempts are financially motivated. Any channel encouraging you to strike the like and subscribe buttons is seeking to gain financial advantage from their content. I never suggest to any viewers that they should like any of my videos or subscribe to my channel. My channel is not a commercial enterprise, it is an historical record. To dismantle Bob Lazar's story, and to attempt to discredit it, requires a logical analysis of events. However, the very first step in this process is completely overlooked by all Lazar detractors. The single most important claim made by Bob Lazar is a so-called gravity B wave frequency of 7.46 Hz. The reason this is the most important element in the Bob Lazar story, and the reason why it is the first step in investigating the veracity of Bob Lazar's claims, is because this frequency value of 7.46 Hz does not depend upon space aliens, Area 51, S4 or Element 115. In fact, this frequency value does not need any of the Bob Lazar story to be true, or even for the Bob Lazar story to exist. This frequency value of 7.46 Hz is a quantum vacuum property of the Earth, at its surface. It is location-specific. To be more precise with our description, this frequency value of 7.46 Hz is the net quantum vacuum probability amplitude frequency, at the surface of the Earth. This means that if you sum the probabilities of virtual photons popping into existence at the surface of the Earth, a vast quantity of virtual photons pop in at 7.46 Hz. Or in other words, a vast quantity of virtual photons pop into existence approximately every 0.13 seconds. This is the process that the space alien technology must be interfering with, in order to achieve the hovering function at the surface of the Earth. Please watch all relevant episodes on this channel if you'd like to understand how the Lazar frequency is actually calculated. You can see from the table that the gravity B wave frequency is location-specific, with considerable variation occurring over a relatively narrow orbital bandwidth. Hence, the likelihood of Bob Lazar guesstimating the correct quantum vacuum frequency at the surface of the Earth is quite frankly inconceivable. Putting it another way, it'd probably be more likely for Bob to have randomly picked the winning lottery numbers every week for the rest of his life, rather than randomly arrive at 7.46 Hz. I believe Bob Lazar to be on the right side of history. I never had this opinion, or any opinion of Bob Lazar or his claims, until I discovered very surprisingly and coincidentally, that my research derives 3 of his key scientific claims. Please watch episodes 14, 15, 16 and 38, for more information. To cut a long story short, it is inconceivable that Bob's claims could be a product of random guessing. The correlation between his so-called gravity B wave frequency of 7.46 Hz, to my scientifically derived value of 7.43 Hz, is beyond astonishing. Please remember when considering this point, that the core equation I derived to produce the Lazar frequency, played a key role in my prediction of the power spectrum Hubble constant, 5 years in advance of experimental confirmation. This is a matter of historical record, published by the Australian Institute of Physics, so it cannot be falsified or doctored. In 2008, I predicted a value of Hubble constant which was confirmed by a $900 million satellite, according to Google, called the Planck satellite, in 2013. I provide all of the information required by any viewers of this channel, to be able to verify the calculation for themselves. This is real evidence because you can check for yourself. I find it particularly disturbing that all of the naysayers, with respect to the Lazar story, formulate and hold their opinions, in the absence of any scientific evidence. Every debunking claim is purely trust-me based, because all the evidence presented, by every person to date, could have been fabricated. However, I offer evidence which cannot be fabricated or doctored. It is evidence that everyone can validate for themselves. Since I published the mathematical derivation of Lazar's claims, not a single person has rebutted my argument, or even challenged me on it. My argument isn't possible to rebut because it's based on a rock-solid mathematical foundation, dating back to Joseph Fourier. I need to emphasize that debunking Bob Lazar can only start with invalidating his frequency value of 7.46 Hz, which does not require any of his story to exist. This value stands on its own feet as an intrinsic quantum vacuum property of the Earth, at its surface. To overlook this first step and embark upon character assassination is childish and unprofessional. I call upon all Bob Lazar character assassins to focus on his technical claims, not his character. To demonstrate the futility of character assassination, let's apply the same character assassination methodology to U.S. politics. When we do, we find that the U.S. lied about Vietnam, it lied about WMDs in Iraq, and therefore, the U.S. population cannot be trusted. U.S. politicians are selected from the people. Thus, political will equals the will of the populace. This position is clearly asserted by the U.S. Constitution. So, does mistrusting the U.S. population based upon character assassination derived from historical fact actually lead to anything useful? No, it doesn't. Character assassination is not a good foundation from which to conduct an objective investigation. My point being that by playing the man and not the ball, it is very difficult to move forward. Playing the man and not the ball is not how World Cup soccer titles are won. People who play the man and not the ball in the Lazar case failed to achieve anything. Step 1, in any Bob Lazar debunking attempt, can only begin with explaining the origin of the Lazar frequency value of 7.46 Hz. No other point of entry exists for any attempt to debunk Bob Lazar. It can only begin with the Lazar frequency value of 7.46 Hz, because it is not dependent upon the Lazar story in any way, shape or form. It is an intrinsic quantum vacuum property of the Earth, at its surface. There is no shortcut around this value, and because it does not require any part of the Lazar story to exist, no choice exists but to deal with this issue prior to any character assassination attempt. Circumventing the origin of the Lazar frequency value of 7.46 Hz and launching immediately into a character assassination attempt, completely and totally voids the debunking effort. Anybody witnessing this should immediately discard the source. Well, I hope you found this video useful. Above all, please remember that the most important claim made by Bob Lazar is his gravity B wave frequency of 7.46 Hz. This claim does not require the existence of space aliens, Area 51, S4 or Element 115. It is a quantum vacuum property of the Earth, at its surface. Any person attempting to debunk the Bob Lazar story has no choice but to address this claim as their starting point. If you are witnessing a debunking attempt which does not start with this claim, then the entire debunking attempt is biased and may be discarded.